Hello, my name is Dean Contover, and this is the Current Buzz. Today we have Dr. Lang, Jay Lang. He's going to talk about his school system in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. He's superintendent of the school system in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. And how are you, Dr.
Very
Lang?
good, Dean.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me on board.
Yeah, thank you for coming again. We usually get you once a year and you
Yes.
come in and talk about, excuse me. We have some breaking news. Channel 25 said that the Parker Middle School is the best school out of, I think it was 2 middle schools, 2 high schools, 2 elementary schools.
Yes.
And they got the most votes. So now they're going to get $5,000. So that must put a skip in your step, so to speak.
Correct. Yeah, I'm very happy for the Parker Middle School. The Fox 25 News put a contest on for school systems and individual schools within districts, and Parker ended up signing up for it. And they were selected as one of the middle school finalists. There was a high school category, middle school, and elementary. And they came out about a week and a half ago and filmed Parker and some of the staff and students to talk about what it makes it be a really special place.
Yeah.
And we just heard over this past weekend that Parker actually won the middle school competition. So they're going to be awarded a $5,000 prize to recognize Parker for the unique community that it is. So we're really happy for them.
Yeah,
that was a
I
great,
like to say that
contest.
my daughter went to Parker Middle School, and I consider Parker Middle School a happy school.
It is. It is.
And-
They have, well, they
And most of the schools in Chelmsford are happy schools.
do. We have a pride initiative district-wide, but I think
Right.
it really displays itself very well at Parker. And they do. They show a lot of pride in their school, so I'm very happy for them.
And the principal of the Parker School,
Yeah, Dr. Parks.
Dr. Parks.
Jeff Parks at the Parker. It's always easy to,
Yeah.
to remember. But he was very excited. He was the big cheerleader for that competition.
I like to say I like the new granite sign outside the Parker
It looks
School.
very nice.
It looks very nice. Lieutenant
Yeah.
Colonel Parker,
Correct?
Moses Parker, he was wounded in the Battle of Bunker Hill, if you don't know anything about it, taken a prisoner of war, and died on July 4th, 1775 in Boston as a POW in Boston. But that's a little history
That's
on
a
the
little
side.
history for you,
Yeah.
yep.
Another thing of breaking news and stuff was a quarterback, Kyle Wilder. He threw 50 for 23 passes for 235 yards and 3 touchdowns against Westford. He was the
I think he was Player of the Week.
Player of the
for,
Week of the Herald.
The Boston Herald.
The
I saw
Boston
that this
Herald,
morning coming
yeah.
in as well. So
And-
our football team's having a very good year.
yeah, he's there.
they really
winning.
are.
I don't want to say how many games they won because I might get it wrong.
I believe they're 5-2.
5-2, yeah.
I believe they're 5-2.
Which is great. I mean, it's
having a
the
very
season.
good year.
Yeah.
Yep. Good
Yeah.
group of
Good-
young men, and the
Good
coach
coaching.
doing it very well.
Yeah, I think so
very
too.
well too.
I think so too. So back to reality.
Sure. Yeah, we're in the midst of the school year, so
Yeah,
things
yeah.
are going very well.
Good.
I'm still very excited to be here, and we're having a very good school year.
Okay.
It's been different coming in. Now we're fully in person.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, as you know, we had some students who were fully remote. We had other students who were kind of hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
So they were remote a couple of days. They were in person a few days. But we're kind of getting back to a regular school year.
Okay.
So all of our staff and students are back in person, K through 12, and we're making all the adjustments now to that.
Do you feel that there's any loss because of COVID-19 in regards to the students losing out a year or going hybrid?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're still trying to diagnose
Yeah.
at this point. I mean, there was certainly loss, and there was certainly you could not accomplish in the circumstances that we were in our traditional years schooling, which is fine, and no one across the country did last year. So I think it's really how we're now coming back to school, remaking connections with students, because if you think about it, like we're in the Parker Middle School right now taping this, but we had some students in, say, 6th grade now who never really had an opportunity for a 5th grade here because they were remote last year. So they're now coming in, as 6th graders for the first time into the building with our new 5th graders. So there's some of that adjustment that takes place. As a district, we focus a lot on, you'll hear like social emotional learning, well-being, making sure that there's a good connection to the community. So all of that's been happening over the course of the year. And obviously academics are important to us, so we're trying to ascertain, where all the student learning is, where people might need some additional help to get caught up from some of the loss that we've had over the last year and a half.
Right, good.
But I think we're really in great shape compared to some other districts. Staff work incredibly hard to really help and support their students and families. So I think we're in very good shape. It's just this is this is also still kind of a recovery year for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Coming out of the pandemic a little bit. But I'm very happy that we're all back in person and can be working through those challenges together.
I'd like to ask you a question in regards to testing, right? We have MCAS, and I don't know if people know what MCAS is, but what some people, don't want MCAS anymore because of COVID-19. They say that it's not amendable
Right.
For the students. Some people want to keep it.
Right.
And,
Yeah, there's across the state, you'll see
yeah,
different opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
We did just receive our MCAS results from last spring.
Okay.
It was an abridged version. It wasn't the full version of the test. And we're really using that as just kind of a benchmark
Okay.
to show where our students are and some of the things we may need to work on over the course of this next year. I've always just kind of viewed it as a snapshot in time to kind of show performance and how our students are achieving. It's just one measure of the education that we provide students.
Right.
I think the state really put an emphasis on last year not having it really be a high stakes test, that there wouldn't be a lot of comparability compared to other districts.
Right,
and
right.
It wouldn't be used for those
In
purposes.
regards to priority school.
Yeah,
priority
we're
1, 2,
really
3.
just using it to
Yeah.
designate how school systems and whatnot, but we're using it just as, again, a snapshot in time. How are our kids doing last spring? Again, some have been out of school for over a year at that point in time. Just to give us some data as we start, we worked over the course of the summer to prepare for the school year.
So what's your opinion long range in regards to MCAS?
I don't see it going away. I
Okay.
think it really just matters how your school district uses it. And again, we just use it as one measure of a student's performance. It's
see.
not the end-all, be-all. Our teachers, teach incredibly hard all school year. I think by teaching to the standards that we do and the high level of expectations that we hold our students to, when they take the MCAS test, I think it's a good reflection on where they're at that point in time. But personally, I don't put a lot of emphasis on that. I think just based on our instruction, our students will fare well, and it's one resource.
What's the argument in regards to some professors, some teachers, saying they teach to the MCAS test? That's their argument. I'm not saying it happens in Chelmsford, but
Right.
in other.
Well, I don't know. I think I can only speak to Chelmsford and
Okay,
how we
yeah.
do things. And, we have curriculum in place across the district. We feel it's aligned to the state standards, and if it's not, we always work to improve upon that. But I think by taking those measures, ultimately when you take the state assessment, which is also aligned to the standards, our students perform very well. They really do. But again, it's just a single point in time. It's a single measure of how students are doing. It's a good data point for us because it is across the state, so you do have that norming that can take place. But I don't personally put a lot of emphasis on that. I think we prepare our students daily to excel and to be very good students, and it's just one data piece that we have to take a look at.
Good point. Chelmsford in the Boston Magazine, I think was last year. I know it was last year, put Chelmsford the number 30th in eastern Massachusetts. And they're 1,906 out of 17,000 high schools. That's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, we have an outstanding high school. I mean,
Yeah.
we really do. Our school system, I would put up against anyone's. Very strong, elementary, middle. Our high school students excel. We try to provide them with as many opportunities as we can, both in the classroom and through extracurriculars, whether it's different student activities or plays and theater and sports. To give them a really well-rounded education, music and musicals.
Yeah,
our
definitely.
kids excel.
Yeah.
It's kind of a complete package. But I'm very happy with our programming. We always look to add and to tweak and to make it a little bit better for our students in the years to follow. But I'm very very happy with our programs.
I watch TV occasionally, the news, and usually
Sure.
something happens at some high school or some middle school or something.
Right.
And I see these beautiful buildings in regards to middle schools and
Right.
high schools, and I'm saying, when's Chelmsford going to get a new
Well,
high
we're
school?
trying. We're trying.
okay.
Actually, part of our focus this year, in 2015-16, we had an architectural firm come in and work with us on a short-term and a long-term facilities assessment for the district.
Right.
And that led toward our long-term MSBA project that we've been applying for to potentially build a new school in Chelmsford. So we haven't been successful in our application, I think partly because we do a very good job of maintaining our existing facilities.
That's good. That's very important.
It is important.
Yeah.
Even though they're getting older, the town does do an excellent job of maintaining them. But it puts us at a little bit of a competitive disadvantage because the state actually looks at facilities that are in the worst conditions when they're looking to do a project. So we actually had that firm back in again this fall, and they'll be working with us right through January, February timeline to take a look at our 10-year capital plan, to revise that, help reprioritize our projects that we want to accomplish, and then also to take a look at our longer-term project. You know, should we be still exploring a high school option? Should we be looking toward a middle school option? So we'll be looking at all of that between now and February. There is an opportunity for the public to participate. We had a visioning session back in October.
Oh, okay.
There's another one coming up on Tuesday, November 9th.
And where is that gonna be?
Held at the Elks.
At the Elms.
Very easy to get to, very good parking,
Yeah,
it's all on one
yeah.
level. And Doran Whittier is the name of the architectural firm that's working with us. We've been pushing out messages through social media and email and whatnot, but family and community members, anyone who would like to participate to hear a little bit more about what our long-term plan for the school facilities should be, certainly welcome to come and to participate.
Yeah. What time is that?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6
okay.
o'clock on Tuesday the 9th.
I
and
did
it-
see that.
Yep, it is at the, held at the Elks.
At the Elks, yeah. So try to be there November 9th. I mean, I know you're busy, but, you know, I mean, this is the future of Chelmsford High School.
Right.
And we'll see what happens. You have to submit an application every year.
Every
or
year.
Every year.
Correct.
So have you
Every,
submitted?
Well, no, we have been submitting it every
Oh,
year. They usually become available sometime in the January, February timeframe, and they're due in April.
So
we have them.
what does that mean? Does that mean the state takes on 50% and the town takes on 50%?
Well,
Or what
It all depends on, every town's unique. So
Okay.
it all depends on the community's kind of ability to pay. There's a formula that determines how much the state would pay for and how much
see.
the community would need to pay for.
Right.
Chelmsford happens to be right around the 50% mark. So if we were approved for a new school building project or a renovation or rehab or something along those lines, the state would basically participate and would reimburse Chelmsford about half the cost of that facility.
Okay. I have Dr. Jay Lang. He's the superintendent of the schools in Chelmsford. And we're going to talk about the finances in town with the school system. I think they're very good from what I see. And also, I want to know in regards to, this is your 7th year, right? So your contract is going to be coming up in
Correct.
a couple of years or something like that?
Yep, so this is my 7th year here in Chelmsford. Again, still very happy and very much enjoy being
Good.
here. My current contract still has another year on it, so it'll end at the end of 2023. So, you know, about another year and a half on that contract.
Right.
But again, I very much like it here and plan to be here for the long term.
Okay.
So that has been good. Financially, I think we're in very strong shape. We're in very good financial footing. Our local operating budget, which is supported by the town, you know, has been very consistent over the years. That provides kind of our base programming. We've been able to set aside and build reserves in some of the revolving funds that
Good.
we're able to carry, which has been helpful. So we're in very good shape when it comes to putting aside money for, say, like special ed, unanticipated special ed costs, transportation costs. Facilities, we've actually been able to, in addition to the town capital, utilize some of our own funding to pay for some capital projects ahead of time. So we've been able to help contribute, and then ultimately that helps the town as well because they don't have to fund a capital project if we can do it ourselves. So no, I'm in very good shape financially. I think one of the other areas where we've invested is in technology. We've spent a significant amount of money in technology over the last year and a half or so. Our technology director, Bill Silva, has done a very nice job, in addition to managing his local budget, applying for different grants to help us out. We actually get notified just last week that we're receiving about another $850,000, which is a big grant from the state to help with some devices and additional networking and internet connectivity for our programs. So that's obviously very helpful. We've invested significant money in our 101 computer initiative. We wanted to make sure that every student in Chelmsford, middle school through high school, you know, had their own district-issued device so that we could have some parity among students and the devices. So this is the first year, actually, that all of our students in grades K through 12 have a district-issued device. We use Chromebooks in the district, but everyone has their own laptop. And what we were able to also do, now that our 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 students all have a device, we were able to take some of the carts of devices in those middles and high schools and bring them down to the elementary.
Oh, wow.
So we don't have the elementary kids go back and forth to home with a laptop just because of the weight and whatnot. But every one of our classrooms has a dedicated lab that
good.
they can use at any time. So
Good.
we're very technology heavy. We've invested a lot of money in technology to support our students. I think the timing was great because of the pandemic and whatnot, and the fact that we were so reliant on it. But we've been doing that with our own funding as well. So we've utilized some of our school choice funding to be able to pay for that technology initiative. So the taxpayers in town have not had to contribute.
I think what you should do is have some of the students go up to the senior center and help the seniors with technology,
yeah.
get them up to speed.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
they
no, our students do a great job of volunteering,
Yeah, I know
throughout
they
town
do,
and in
yeah.
different places. So if there's ever a need, we do have groups that reach out to us to say, could we have some high school students come and help with a particular need? But if technology were one, I'm sure we'd have some
Yeah.
kids be able to help out
Yeah.
with that.
ESL, that's what I call it in the school
Yeah.
system.
It's ELL now,
E-
English Language
E-
Learners.
Okay. Last time I think you told me there were about 200, 250.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit high. I don't have the exact number for you, but our number has been growing over the last number of years. We're probably up over 300 at this point
All right.
of ELL students, which would be K through 12
Right.
in our district. We have a good staff that supports them and really helps them with their English language acquisition in our buildings. But no, it's a growing population for us. Students that have home languages that are other than English.
Right.
And
Like Afghani or something, or
really anything,
Dari or whatever.
a lot of Spanish, Portuguese. We have different Chinese dialects. So yeah, there can be quite a bit of languages. But we have again an ELL staff that works really to provide some extra language acquisition to those students as they come into the district.
Recently, there have been new buildings, condos, and apartments on Route 110.
Yes.
Is that hurting the elementary school in that area, or kind of?
Not yet, I have to say. So they're just starting to open up and starting to lease out at this point in time.
Okay.
So those anyone living in those condos for elementary would go to the Byam.
Right.
Elementary
That's
school.
a
So
school.
the Byam, is a little tight,
Yeah.
but I'll be honest with you, we actually have had quite an increase at Center School. I think Center is
Oh.
actually our school seeing the most new registrations.
Oh, no
recently.
kidding.
Yeah, there were a couple of developments down on Turnpike and Mill Road that actually feed into Center School. So Center is booming quite a bit. We had to open up a couple of extra classrooms over there.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Harrington has always had a strong enrollment, and even last year, South Row has probably been the least enrolled elementary school. Still, it's fully enrolled, but our numbers are probably the best over there. But we actually had to add a fifth section of kindergarten last year because the numbers in the South Row district had increased so much. So it is something that we monitor on a year-to-year basis.
When are we going to get digital speed limits at South Row and Harrington School?
Get what?
Those digital signs that read out what speed you're going.
Oh,
When are we-
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I'm just putting a plug in for those
Sure,
schools
sure.
because people fly.
The town's been adding on their own, and I know this has been a warrant article at town meeting for a couple different years in a row. They've been adding some of those digital, like school zone, crosswalk type signs.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The
You
yellow,
pull up to
the
it and it kind of
flashing yellow,
flashes at
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I haven't seen too many of the speed ones.
I saw one on Main Street, and I'm saying, why is it on Main Street? There
Yeah.
were two of them, and I'm saying, why it should be at the Harrington?
Was it just
or
a
the
temporary
South
one,
Row.
or was it a
It
permanent
didn't
one?
look temporary. I know. I don't like those small temporary ones
Yeah.
they put on the telephone poles. I mean, you can't really
Yeah,
see them, and
I
no
don't
one
know.
cares.
Typically at the beginning of the school year, when we have increased traffic through
Mm-hmm.
town, if we do have difficulty at particular schools or locations with traffic that might be going too fast,
Right.
the police department are excellent to work with us to help with a little bit of traffic education and
Right.
enforcement. So we'll reach out to them from time to time.
If you go by a school and there's a flashing yellow light and it says 20 miles an hour, try to lower your speed going by the school.
Yeah, that should
you
be a
know.
warning that,
Yeah.
there's students around and there's kids
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
and really to approach cautiously.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, yeah, I just, I talked about, what about safety in the school? That's what I wanted to ask in regards to safety. How
Yeah.
are things coming back? I mean, you hear about other school systems. I'm not saying the high school or the middle school, but safety, how is that handled?
No, safety is a big priority for
Yeah.
us. I mean, and this is something that we actually spent a significant amount of time and money in over the last 3 or 4 years. We as a district had moved to an options-based response protocol called ALICE in our schools. So working closely with the police department, fire department, other first responders in the area, we changed our whole response protocol a few years ago. And we still drill on that, 3-4 times a year, depending on the level. So we have staff that are trained as trainers. All of our staff within the building, even if they're not a trainer, go through an annual kind of refresher on how we respond in different situations. So, without getting into the nitty-gritty of it, we actually spend a good amount of time and effort on that.
Okay.
Students will, from time to time, if we're doing a drill in the school, go home and be able to kind of share that information with their parents. Again, we do drill and we do prepare ourselves in the event of all types of situations, just so that we are ready and prepared if something ever were to happen.
What is ALICE? I mean, explain what it is, because I hear it
Yeah, for the average,
talked about.
it's
Yeah.
basically, it provides you with options. So if there were a situation to occur within the school, formerly, we had type of like a lockdown type approach, where regardless of what was happening, you would just lock down within your school, your classroom. ALICE gives you different options. So if you have an issue going on within a school, the teacher and the students in the class, again, depending on the level, obviously, the older you get, the more involved you can be in making the decision. Is it wise for us to actually stay in this class and lock down? Should we be considering evacuating? Is it safer for us to be outside the building as opposed to being in the building? It gives you different scenarios, and you actually then train on those scenarios to just try to keep you as safe as possible for a potential outside intruder trying to come into the building.
Right.
Or even what's more common is you might actually have a situation developing outside of the school that really has nothing to do with the school, but it's just in proximity of the school. So you might want to do what we might call, say, like a soft lockdown or a hold in place, where the exterior part of the building would be locked down, so people
Right.
wouldn't be coming and going from
I
the
see.
school.
Yeah.
But during the school day itself, inside the building, your building would be having a regular education program. But if there were an issue happening outside, the police would notify us. We could put that building on like an external lockdown, and then still keep the education going on within the building.
Right.
A lot of it is information sharing and really making sure communication is very clear among staff and students, faculty, and any of the first responders. But we do spend a significant amount of time in that each year.
Yeah, I'd like to say that the football team is doing very well. So if
Yeah.
you have a possibility of going to the football game, go to the football game. It's usually Friday evening. And,
Sure, they have a couple home games left.
Yeah, they have a couple of home games up. So I don't want to be specific,
Sure.
like on this show,
Sure.
but they do have, and they're doing very well. They're 5-2, I believe. Am I correct? They're
Yeah,
5-2.
I believe
which
the football
yeah,
team is 5-2.
Yeah.
All of our fall sports are actually having very good seasons.
Oh, good.
Girls and boys soccer are having a good season.
Is it because of the new athletic director has finally gotten things going?
No, I mean, Dan's great.
Yeah,
Dan's
he
been
is,
there
he
for
is.
quite some time.
He
No,
was
we-
on the show.
Yeah, we've got great, we've got very good and dedicated, coaches who, are involved in their sports
Mm-hmm.
year round, not even just during the season itself, but they're very much on top of stuff. We've got some great student athletes at the high school. I think everyone's just happy to be back and
Yeah.
actually in a kind of a regular playing environment this year. So that's been great to see.
I like to say, speaking of happy, again, I'll repeat it. You have a happy school system and people are happy. I think the elementary school children are happy going to school, and most of the middle school children
Yeah, no,
in the high school are basically happy to go to high school. So
Yeah, it's
I
going
mean,
about
that's
as
positive.
about as good as can be expected.
Yeah, yeah.
Given coming back after that year
Yeah,
and a half.
I hope the school committee, extends your contract.
Oh, thank you.
A few
Yeah,
more
the
years.
school committee's been excellent to work
Yeah.
with. Like I said, we've got a very good admin team that we work with. I very much enjoy it, and yeah, things are going well.
You still have coffee with the superintendent? Is that?
Well, we're going to have to restart that.
Okay.
So we stopped that during the pandemic,
Right.
obviously, because people weren't going out and
Right.
masking and all of that. But we're trying to figure out this year how to open up some new opportunities to be able to have that.
Right.
So I think what we'll probably do is after the first of the year, throughout the course of the spring, when we get into like budget and planning and things, we'll figure out a way to reinstate those. And if we can't do them in person, I'm kind of leaning towards doing even like a virtual type session where people just want to come and talk and have an opportunity to share ideas with me that they can.
Thank you for being on the show.